This claim document is so confusing. I don't understand this document. Can you help me? I hope you can make sense of this. I sure can't. Yeah, insurance documents are confusing. They don't make a whole lot of sense. We get questions about them all the time. So let's take a few minutes and walk through a claim document so that way you can understand what it's talking about, understand each of the sections, so that way when you get your document from your insurance company, it's all going to make sense to you. Hi everybody, this is Tracy Bookman, owner of Homestead Roofing, and this is episode 6 in our series, The 7 Things You Need to Know About the Insurance Claim Process. In the last few videos, we've talked a lot about your insurance claim document. So since we get asked questions about this document so often, what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to open up a claim document, a real claim document, and we're going to walk through it piece by piece, section by section, and try to address the common areas where people really get confused, because it is a confusing document. So we're going to explain the different sections, we're going to explain what the different terms mean, and we're going to explain, the line item breakdown that you see in these documents. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so I've got a document open here now. This is an actual insurance claim document that we got last year. And obviously I redacted all the personal and insurance company information, but none of that's really important to understanding the actual document. Now, like I say, about 90% of insurance companies use Xactimate to write their estimates. So most of the time your claim document's going to look like this. If you have a company that doesn't use Xactimate, then your claim document may look similar, but there's going to be some major differences. But anyway, since Xactimate's what's used the majority of the time, we're only going to show a claim that was created using Xactimate. So on this first page, this is going to show the insurance company information, which is normally up here. It's going to show the claim number down here and show the homeowner information and the adjuster information and all the contact info for all of that. The other major thing that Xactimate does is it shows a price list. So you can see right here where it says price list. So this has a particular code, and it shows this 8 right here. This is just the version of Xactimate that was used, and you can see it's Colorado Springs, and then August of 2020. And that's kind of an important piece of information, because if you had damage that occurred, in May of 2021, and you didn't file your claim until end of July, the adjuster didn't get out there until middle of August, the adjuster writes the claim and uses the price list from the date of loss. Maybe it's 3 months before your contractor can actually start doing the work. Maybe it's later than that. It might even be a year later, depending on how severe the storm was. So that price list actually becomes fairly important, because when your contractor is going to do the work, he's going to be using costs at the time of the job. He can't go back in time and get materials for whatever they cost back when the damage happened. So this price list information is actually kind of important, but it's more important really for your contractor. Then some of the other stuff that you're going to see on here are these numbers. Okay, so this information here is the cost of your claim. So you can see this is the total of all the line items, then they're adding in tax, and so this is the total claim amount here. Then they depreciate it. Now we've talked about depreciation a lot in other videos. We're not going to belabor that here. I would just recommend that you go back and watch some of our other videos where we talk about what depreciation is. But basically it's just the amount of money that they're keeping back out of the claim that they will pay when the work is done. So then this next amount here, the actual cash value, that's this amount minus this amount. So the actual cash value, the ACV amount, is this. Then there's the deductible, so then the net claim. So this person got a check for this amount. Now notice right here it says total recoverable depreciation. That also is really important for you to make note of. because that tells you how much money you're going to get back when the work is done. So you can see 2806.77 matches the depreciation up here, 2806.77. You want to make sure that you take note of that number and actually that line item. If it says total recoverable depreciation, let's say on this one, the total recoverable depreciation was $1,500, then what that's saying is that there's over $1,300 of depreciation that the homeowner isn't going to recover. The homeowner's not going to get that money back. And the other important thing to know about this particular line item is you want to look and see, does it say non-recoverable depreciation in there? Because if you have just an actual cash value policy, then that means that all you're going to get is this amount here. You're not going to get the depreciation at all. Now, these numbers roll over onto the next page, so I'm going to open up the next page. Okay, so on this next page, like I say, usually this line is on the previous page down here at the bottom, but since they've got so much information here, it rolled over onto the next page. So this is showing what the net claim is going to be if depreciation is recovered. So that means that if this homeowner were to recover that 2806, then this is the total amount that the insurance company would be paying for this claim. So remember, this excludes the deductible because that's the homeowner's share in the cost, but it includes any depreciation. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next page. Sometimes some insurance companies will include a page like this, some of them do not. All this is doing is showing what the total material sales tax is going to be. Now, oftentimes, the insurance company includes the tax in the line item breakdown, which is what we're going to see next. This insurance company happens to just break it out. Also, that there is something called overhead and profit, which insurance companies may or may not include. If they do include it, again, some insurance companies will include it on this page, the recap page, recap of taxes page. Sometimes they're going to include it in the line item breakdown. So for the line item breakdown, that's actually on this next page. This page is the actual estimate from the insurance company for the scope of work of repairs. This is basically a budgetary document is what this is. At least that's what it's intended to be. It's actually kind of changed and become, for the insurance companies, more, the 10 Commandments etched in stone. This is what we say we're going to pay. But that's really not the way that Xactimate was designed to be used. It was designed to be more of a budgetary document so that an insurance company and a contractor and a homeowner all kind of knew where the starting point was, not where the ending point is. Now on this one you can see that it says this is for the main roof. So they're going to break all the different components of the claim out into these different sections. You can see that it shows a drawing of the house and then shows some of the top level numbers. Then down here, this is the line item breakout. Now remember when we talked about this page here, the tax and the overhead and profit, sometimes insurance companies will include another column in here for tax, maybe another column in here for overhead and profit. So that way all of those numbers are being shown for each different line item instead of being totaled on this recap page. So you can see as we move down in this column here, the description, this is all the different services to perform or materials that need to be replaced, different things that the adjuster says needs to occur on this particular project. Then we've got the quantity, and if you'll notice it says SQ. SQ, what the heck is a SQ? Well, that stands for square, and it's just simply how they measure roofing material. 100 square feet is what's called a square. So you see this, it's 30.62 squares, so that's 3,062 square feet. But if you'll notice, that's the tear off and haul away, 30.62. But then on the install, the actual shingles, 34 squares. Well, why is that? It's because they're accounting for a particular factor for cut and waste. On this one, they're showing 10% waste is used, and then what they do is sometimes they round up to the nearest bundle. So, for example, shingles come 3 bundles per square. So each bundle is 33 1/3 square feet. Well, you can't buy a partial bundle, so that's why they round up. So they've taken this, they've added 10% to it, and then they round it up to the nearest bundle. Then over here is the unit price. This is what they're paying for this particular line item unit. So $56.25 for each square, 30.62 squares, and that's the total. So this is the RCV, that's the total amount that they're paying. Here's the depreciation amount. You can see this is just a service, it's not materials, so they're not depreciating it all. This is the actual cash value that they're including in the first check. So that's the way that it works all the way down. So you've got your RCV amount, your depreciation, and your actual cash value. Really, none of these numbers are really useful to a homeowner except for this bottom line number right here in the middle under the RCV. That's what this insurance company is paying to replace this roof. Now remember, I said that they may include, most of the time they're going to include all the different components. The major components are going to be a different section in the claim document. So you can see there's a flat roof on this house, and here's all the information for that and the total amount that they're paying for that. And now we get a running total for the roof that includes this as well as this. But then you can see further down here where it says front elevation. So as the adjuster's going around the house and finding damage on all the different sides, those are going to be designated oftentimes in different sections. So the front of your house is called the front elevation. Then there's the right elevation, the rear elevation, and the left elevation. That is kind of a universal standard, so that way you don't have to worry about directions, especially if you have a house that's kind of cockeyed compass-wise. So you're going to see different sections for the different elevations, and then all of the work for each of the house sides on the exterior will be shown underneath this particular breakout. So you've got gutters here, you've got painting, you've got window well cover. So any work that's needed to be done on the exterior on every different side will be shown in the breakout section for that side. And then notice too that each section has its own total. So you've got this section for the flat roof and a total. You've got this section for the roof and a total. And you've got the front elevation and a total. If we go to the next page, you can see that there's a shed on this property. It has its own section, and you can see all the same information, the line items and the columns with all of the numbers underneath, and there's the total. So we can see that's what they're paying for the shed. You can see the depreciation amount listed underneath each line item with the total depreciation amount. So remember, this amount down here, the ACV amount, that's the amount that has actually been given to the homeowner as part of the first check. The depreciation amount is the amount that's going to come in the second check for this particular section. So we're getting closer to the end of the claim document, and most of the claim documents are going to have this, what's called this recap by room or recap by category, something like that. So the recap page shows a breakdown of each of the major sections and the dollar amounts being paid for them, as well as the percentage of the claim amount represented by each one of these. So, you know, they provide this information. Whether this information is actually useful to anybody, that remains to be seen. You know, we as contractors rarely will ever pay any attention to this page. It's not a page that we typically refer to, and I've never had a homeowner really indicate that this is a page that has provided him any kind of useful information, but it is there. Let's move on to what's typically going to be the last page, and this last page shows a recap by the different trades that are going to be involved in the restoration of the property. So you can see, you know, cleaning has some dollar amounts in it, general demolition, fireplaces down here. Here's the roofing. Of course, that's the largest part of the claim typically. And so each of the trades that are going to be involved are going to be broken down, and again, you're going to see the total dollar amount for the claim and the total depreciation. So I know this is really kind of a lot of information, and a lot of it can be really overwhelming, but for you as a homeowner, there's probably two pages that are going to be most important. The first one is going to be that first page that shows all of the actual dollar amounts. And again, like I say, this one rolls over onto the second page and has this. So this is kind of an important number for you. This is a really important number for you. And this is really important number for you. You have to know what your deductible is. And this page for your contractor isn't as critical. This page here is going to be the most critical piece for your roofing contractor. Again, if there's other components like siding, windows, things like that, you may have a contractor that can deal with all of that, or you may not. If you don't, then each individual contractor is going to need to at some point have access to that information in your claim document. So this has been a rundown of your insurance claim document. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Hopefully it made some sense of all of the nonsense that some people feel that their insurance claim document really kind of represents. But if you've got any other questions, please give us a call right up here at our office phone number, 719-433-6991. You can also visit our website. That's right down here, homesteadroofingcolorado.com. We've got a ton of information out there, lots of other educational videos and blog articles. We'd love it if you give us a big thumbs up on this video. And if you've got questions that you'd like us to address in another video, leave those in the comments section down below. We read and respond to all questions that we get in our comments. Please subscribe to our channel. Click the bell icon up there so that way you get notified when we've got a new video. Until our next video, I'm Tracy Bookman, owner of Homestead Roofing.